Hello, welcome to the video notes for lesson 3.5. This is Intro to Domain and Range, and this begins on page 25 in your notes packet. Let's take a look at the target for this lesson first. And the target is, I can give the domain of a function, determine the range of the, given the domain of a function, determine the range of the function. So we're going to find what the range is once we're given the domain. Another way to think of this is if we are given the x value, we're going to determine the y value. Or if we're given the input, we're going to determine what the output is. Okay? Alright, so we have some examples on page 25 we're going to talk about. Let's go ahead and get started. So the first one is, you have tubes of blue and yellow paint. What colors can be produced from blue and yellow? Alright, so let's talk about this one. We're actually going to do this one together. So the domain is the blue and yellow paint. So this is what we are given. So that's our domain. We're going to call that our, let's pretend for a second this is like a paint sprayer or something. Okay? When you put blue paint in a paint sprayer, what comes out? Yellow paint, what comes out? Both, what comes out? So our domain, our input, if you will, so input, is blue and yellow. So blue, comma, yellow. And so then our range is going to be, well, what would come out of the paint spray? And hopefully you know something about paint and colors. Obviously blue and yellow could or would come out, but there is one other possibility as well. And that is green. Okay, and so this is a function because each input has one output, and these are all our possibilities. Alright? Okay, so then there are two more examples. You have 4 square tiles that measure 2 inches, 5 inches, 8 inches, and 12 inches. What are the areas of these tiles? And if you roll a pair of dice, what are the possible sums? So we're going to take a look at these actually over on the next page. So turn to page 26. And you'll see, here's the example we had just done. But they had used x and f of x. I wanted to do this using input and output. So we're going to use x and f of x for the square tiles. So we're going to call the measurements that we're given, these are our x values. And what we need to find is our f of x, a function of x. Well, how do you find the area of a square tile? Well, you take one side of it and you square it. So that is our function. F of x equals x squared. So now I'm going to use that. I'm going to make a wonderful table. And over here go the x values, and over here is our f of x values. What we get when we plug in our input. Our inputs are 2, 5, 8, and 12. So if I plug in 2, I get 2 squared, 5 squared, 8 squared, and 12 squared. What does that equal? Well, when I plug in 2 squared, I get 4. 5 squared, I get 25. 8 squared, I get 64. And 12 squared, I get 144. Alright, so the domain is x equals curly bracket or mustache bracket, and we have our X values, 2, 5, 8, and 12. Oh, by the way, you should put these in order from least to greatest. And then if we have something other than numbers, then it makes sense to alphabetize. The range for this function is f of x this time equals curly bracket or mustache bracket, and we get 4, 25, 64, and 144. And then don't forget to end it with a curly bracket. Alright? Okay. If you were to roll a pair of dice, what are the possible sums? Okay, well, sum means we're going to be adding the pair of dice together. Now, think about what is on a single die. That is our domain. And one die is, and this time we'll use x and y. So our domain is x equals curly bracket 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now I could have made a table for this, but it's actually kind of simple when you start thinking about the math. So we have 2 dice, and these are the numbers. Now I did not repeat them because we don't repeat these when we come up with the domain and the range. The range, I need to give myself a little more room. When you add two dice together, you get, this time we use y equals, 1 plus 1 is 2. That's the smallest sum you can have. And then you can have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way up to, that's right, 6 plus 6, which is 12. And there is the range for the sum of 2 dice. Pretty simple. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look at some other examples over on the next page, page 27. So this time, table 4.2 depicts 5 states in the United States and corresponding number of representatives in the House of Representatives as of July 2005. Very long time ago. Alright, so find the domain and range of the relation. So they already tell us here's our x, here's our y. Okay? So the domain, and I will need to abbreviate to fit these on here, x equals, or state equals, and we have Alabama, California, Colorado, Florida, and Kansas. And luckily they are all already in order for us, so we didn't need to reorder them. Okay, now the range. Be careful here. When you look at the numbers under the Y column, you have, if we're going to go in order, the smallest number is 4. The next smallest is 7, and there's 2 of them. Do not repeat that. Just write it once. 25 and 53. Oops. 53. There we go. And that's how you write domain and range, or find the domain or the range when you're given the domain. Is this relation a function? And the answer is yes. This relation is a function because hopefully you remember this from earlier, is a function because each input or each domain, which in this case is the states, has exactly one output. And that is the number of representatives. Okay, so that is how you explain if something is a function, if every input has exactly one output. Okay? Alright, there's one more example below, and I'm actually going to ask you to try this one on your own. I'm not going to tell you how to do it, so this will be how you can earn points on your scoreboard. First of all, make sure you don't share this with anybody. Only people who watch the video and listen and pay attention will know this. What I'm looking for is someone to state the domain, someone different to state the range, and then maybe a third or fourth person, or maybe more, who share their strategy. These all have to be different people. So as long as we have different people, there'll be a point for every person that shares that information. Probably up to 4 or 5, maybe even 6 possible points here. Alright? Hopefully this makes sense. If you have any trouble, make sure you come and see me or see a friend. Good luck, and we'll see you in that.